Mark asked Lisa, did you have a good time? Did he make you come a second time? And she, of course, was like, yes. And she was trying to be convincing. And he told her, he's like, I knew you would enjoy yourself if you just let go a little. So she was like, yeah, I just wish you would have told me so I could have been a little bit more prepared. And he was like, you would have overthought it, and I didn't want you to do that. So then when they get to the house, he was like, get on your knees. It's a hardwood floor at that. So that fucks with your knees, okay? And so she's like, he told her, he's like, suck me off. I want to I want to wipe him from you. So she does it, and he's just rough, making her gag, doesn't care. It's not sexy when when they're doing it to like degrade you. You know what I mean? Like when he says stuff, it's like, because it's all mean spirited. So it's nothing sexy about that. It's just not. So he, comes in her mouth and everything. And then afterwards he, picks her up in his arms and he tries to do this whole loving thing. But it's all just a fucking ruse. Like, it's not real. So then the next morning she goes down for breakfast, and she went to grab like some type of pastry, and he told her, he was like, no. He's like, you can't have that. It makes you bloated. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's just pure freaking control. So then he's like, well, have you thought about making an appointment to get the boob job? He's like, I'm thinking maybe we should go up to a D size or maybe higher. This is a small woman. If she's a size 0, she's small. And you're talking about putting on D's on this woman or bigger. So he makes her suck him off again that morning. Oh my gosh. They were supposed to go on a trip to, I think it's Mauritius, in like a couple of weeks. I don't think I'm saying it right. I think it's Mauritius. It sounds right. And he tries to convince her that she needs to get this surgery. He's like, well, it will make me happy. Don't you want to make me happy? I do everything for you. Why would you not want to make me happy? That's just insane. Like, completely insane. So he finally leaves, and he calls back. Like, during the day, he'll call her just to make sure she's home. Like, total control freak over her life. What she eats, how long she works out, like every aspect of her life he has to control. So she's trying to get herself together because she is going to leave him. And so we find out when he leaves, she goes upstairs and she has like this jewelry box that's at the very bottom of her drawer. How deep could the drawer be? But I digress. But it has an envelope and it's filled with notes, because that's what they call cash in England, London, notes. So she's been stashing away, but it's not enough for her to like make a real escape yet, because she's basically, the only time she can get money is when like maybe he sends her to the grocery store. She'll say something costs, maybe less than what it was, or costs more than what, something like that, to try and get like some type of cash, because she has no way of getting anything. He monitors the bank account. She has to, or if she lies and says, oh, I bought this stuff, but I don't have the receipt, just certain things she has to kind of work out to try and get some type of notes, aka cash. The next Saturday, they have another date with Isabella and Grayson to come over. And this, of course, made Lisa super excited. And so before the dinner, Mark he puts an egg vibrator in her. And he told her that he would, it'll help you with your inhibitions, right? So he, of course, has the remote, but he promised to leave it in the drawer because she was panicking a little bit. So he left it in the drawer, which she checked before she left out of that room. But at some point while they were at dinner, I don't know if it's when she got wrapped up in conversation with Grayson, he, some kind of way, or he had another remote to it, one. She starts feeling vibrations. He turned it on like full blast. And the girl just, he did it right when Grayson was asking her about her art. I was like, just so freaking evil. So anytime someone asks her about her life, anything from prior, it enrages him, and he tortures her. He wants to embarrass her. So both Isabel and Grayson thought he was an asshole for making her come at that table. And he, of course, apologizes for it, but it's a trash-ass apology. Isabel asks to go upstairs to see more of his collection. Then her and Grayson go to another room. I think it's a study. And she gets on her knees ready to give him a blowjob. And he was like, I didn't come here for that. And she felt rejected and was like, oh, so you don't want me? And he was like, of course I want you. Can't you tell that I want you? But I know this isn't something you really want to do. And then he was like, I was hoping we could just play chess again. And then she, of course, felt relief. So her and Grayson, they played like a really great game of chess, and he was really honest about what he felt and wanted. And she herself was thinking of what it would mean to be his girlfriend. And Grayson has like a bunch of nieces and nephews, along with his parents, his siblings. Like, he has a lot of family. And someone who only has like her in this world, that, of course, seems like an amazing type of a situation. So it's a nice fantasy for her to get lost in. So they're having that conversation. She asks, does he mind sharing Isabel? And that's when he let her know, we've been on and off for years. We've never been a twosome. Like, we've never been just us. And he tells her, I'm not in love with her or anything. And so he asked her if it bothers her, to hear the two of them. And she was like, it doesn't. She's like, a long time ago it would have, but not anymore. She won the game. She kisses him and was about to go through with the full deed. But she felt like it would just be too difficult, as she couldn't have him fully. So she just kind of pulled back. Sometimes, you're having that conversation, you get wrapped up in the moment, and then she kind of had to pull herself back to reality. He told her, he still wanted to be friends, and she was like, even without the benefits part, and he was like, even without. So she wanted to see him again, and they left the study and met Isabel and Mark coming down the stairs, and she immediately felt jealousy the minute Isabel slid her arm around Grayson. And they said, we should do this again, but they didn't make any plans, which kind of made Lisa wonder if it would ever happen. So then weeks go by, no plans are made. She's happier because she has hope. Her time with Grayson has given her hope. It's like she's coming back to her old self that she thought was like long gone. And so she kind of feels like, if I never see him again, he'll never know what he's given to me, And so Mark comes to her. He wants to take her to his favorite restaurant. And he's like, go buy a new dress. She goes, she does that. She gets her hair done. And when she comes out, she bumps into an old mate from art college, Rose. And they weren't friends, as Rose was like her competition. So Lisa, like I said, she was the star student. So, Rose asked her, what are you up to? And Lisa was kind of embarrassed because she's not up to anything. She stays at home. And so Rose is kind of talking about how, she has her own show coming up and she invites her. So she can see that Rose is kind of looking her up and down with envy. And Lisa says, we'll try to make it. So then Rose asks her about her old friends from school. And, Lisa's like, I haven't really talked to him in a while. And Rose is like, that's shocking. You guys were so close. So then she walks off, and Lisa, of course, goes down memory lane and remembers how Mark told her, how one of her paintings, that it had, been destroyed, and, he couldn't keep him in the gallery anymore. And my thing is, why the fuck not give her shit back? Those are still her paintings. Okay, if you feel like they're trash, fine, no problem. But they're still her paintings. Why would you not give those back to her? Why would you destroy them? That's just, ugh. But what can you expect from a horrible person? So then they go to dinner that night. He tells her he's going out of town to Beijing for a week. Inside, she was thrilled because, initially she was scared because she thought she was going to have to go with him. And she was like, oh gosh, to be stuck with him. But then she's thrilled when she finds out the guy that he's going to do business with, he doesn't mix business and pleasure. He doesn't do business in front of women. And so she's going to be free for a week. So then he told her, when I get back, I want us to go to a party. And she was like, well, what kind of party? Turns out it's a fucking orgy. She, of course, has this look of disgust. He goes in on her. He was like, you're such a small-minded prude. You need to get over yourself. She tried to plead with him and and do the bullshit like, oh my gosh, I just get so jealous when I see you with other women. And he was like, just because I want to fuck other women, it doesn't change my love for you. The fuck? But that's his response. So he's like, you're my life. I can't live without you. Don't you know that? So then he turns it on her and starts in about Grayson and that she had caught feelings for him, and that's what the problem was. And he called her, a stupid slut, and that he bet she wanted to see Grayson right now. And he just kept taunting her, and she had to keep trying to keep on that whole thing of being jealous of him with other people. So Mark didn't grow up with money, right? He came into it. He worked hard. He got his money up, right? But he has this complex about it because now that he has money, he has this issue of wanting to be accepted into high society. A lot of times with high society, they prefer old money to new money sometimes, right? So he's always trying to fit in amongst the elite. So to him, it would turn him on to watch another man fuck his woman because to him, he can fuck her, but he can't have her completely. I have her. So he has this whole thing of, he just has major fucking issues, okay? He's a prime example of, he's a horrible person. The money just brought the shit out. So while Mark is away, she knows this is the best time to leave him, but she also knows she doesn't have enough money to go. So she then thinks about Grayson and asking him for the money. But then again, she's like, she doesn't want to owe anyone anything, no matter how nice Grayson is, because, Mark started out really nice too. So she doesn't want to be indebted to anyone. So she comes up with this plan to offer up herself. So she dresses up, nice, sexy outfit, not showing too much, just, sexy demure type of outfit. She looks up the address online. She goes to see Grayson at his architectural firm. She gets there. His assistant's like, he's swamped for the day. He can't see you. So she begs the woman to at least get a message to him. The woman kept trying to get her information so he could call her back, but she can't risk that number coming up on the phone. So then all of a sudden she hears his voice, and he was like, why are you here? I think it was like coming from the restroom. And he's like, why are you here? He's like, it's a nice surprise though. So she tells him she has a proposition for him, and he says, well, what is it? And she goes, it's me. So he, of course, is like, what do you mean? And she was like, you have me, but for a price. And he was looking at her with concern and was like, are you saying what I think you're saying? And she was like, yes. And he was like, again, are you in some type of like trouble? And she's like, no. And he was like, well, why can't you get the money from Mark? She was like, well, he does so much for me already. I don't want to ask him for any more. So then Grayson asked her, well, how much? And she says £1,000, which is like $1,300 US. So he was like, that's a lot of money. She says, well, you're a rich man. You can afford it. So they have this back and forth, and then finally he agrees. So she offers him 1 week, as much as he wants, but she has to be home by midnight before the Skype session with Mark. So he agrees and wanted to know, when they would start. And she's like, now. So she drops to her knees. She gives him a blowjob. He asks her, open your top, let me see you. She's waiting for like this harsh grabbing of her head, gagging her, like this treatment of trash is what she's expecting. And he never does that. And she was going to let him come in her mouth, but he was like, no, he like came on her breast. So she went to the bathroom, cleaned up, and he was like, I wish I would have known about this offer yesterday. Like, I would have made my schedule around seeing you. So he walks her down to the curb. They make plans to see each other the next night at 7 o'clock. So the next day, she's so excited. All day, she's thinking about Grayson. She wears the same dress she did on the first night they met. He made dinner for her. She was shocked because she thought it was just going to, as soon as she walks in, she thinks she's going to get fucked. And that's going to be that. He even made her dessert. And at first she was like, no, because she still has Mark in her head telling her she can't eat desserts. And then she's like, what am I doing? Mark's not going to see, why am I doing that? Mark's not going to see me. So then before they ate, he gave her the money for the money.